Hello everybody, it's Wyvern here with another bit of Total War, Warhammer 2, Quick Match gameplay. This time around we are on the map Toothgrass Hill, playing as the Tomb Kings against the Chaos Warriors, as I'm trying to get as much gameplay in as I can with the Tomb Kings against basically any faction I can get going against. So, in this situation, I'm definitely going with a bit of, I think, a fairly classic comp I've been running lately. For my Lord, I'm running Arkan the Black, who I think personally, and I've said this in previous videos, is the best lord for the Tomb Kings. In this situation, I'm bringing the Tomb Blade of Arkan, which is essentially a invocation of Neheg style effect that replenishes HP of nearby troops and can also resurrect. He also does have the Staff of Nagash, which provides improved power recharge rate and a reduced ability recharge, so definitely great sort of pseudo arcane conduit there. He does have the Libra Mortis for some great physical resistance buffs, and then of course the Lore of Death, in this case I only brought Spear Legion and Fate of Buna, because that can help nuke down some high priority targets from the Chaos troops. My Will Be Done is a very powerful AoE buff, though not quite on par with, say, Cetra's 55 meter buff. It only has a 30 meter range. It will still buff your troops a good amount with plus 5 melee defense and melee attack. Finally, of course, the Curse. So once I drop below 50% with good old Arkan the Black, he will start causing an AoE Mortis Engine or Fate of Buna style effect for a little while. Alongside him, I did bring a Necrotect. The Necrotect, of course, I think is basically a mandatory pick. He does have the Vambrace, so he's a decent melee combatant, similar to, say, Branch Wraith, and he does have the Vambrace of the Sun, which provides a -9 melee attack debuff, allowing your front line to hold far more easily. He also does have Restore, which provides a good old healing boost to any of your constructs that you decide to target with it. Otherwise, for my front line, I brought a bunch of Skeleton Warriors. These guys will not do good against anything Chaos brings to the field, not even Hounds or Chaos Marauders, but they will hold the line without breaking because, of course, they are undead. My second line is really where the meat and potatoes of the army is, or definitely the tanky portion of it is, with 3 units of Tomb Guard with Halberds, and these guys should definitely be able to survive through most of what the Chaos troops can put against you, because they have good melee defense, they have armor-piercing damage, and so they should just be able to tank through whatever the enemy throws at you, and deal with any large troops they might bring as well. In the back line, to do some damage, I do have 2 units of Ashati Greatbows, as well as the Chosen of the Gods, who of course do have the Shield Breaker effect, though that shouldn't really have much of an effect here, as I'm not bringing any archers, and the Ushapti I do believe pierce shields with their large projectiles. Finally, out on the flank, we do have a vanilla Necrosphinx, not a fancy schmancy variant, but still very, very potent, and should be able to go toe-to-toe with most, if not all, enemy large targets. If we compare its stats to the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, we can definitely see that the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth is in many ways superior to Necrosphinx, but also does have less armor, is definitely more susceptible to shooting, or at least non-armor piercing shooting. Does have just a few small disadvantages. Hits a little, doesn't hit as hard, and obviously is potentially breakable. That said, Necrosphinx can definitely go toe-to-toe, or should be able to just hold him off for a good bit. If we look at the stats for their damage, I'm not entirely sure which is better off. You can see bonus versus large of 35, whereas the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth is sitting at a comfy bonus of 30, so not quite as good, and definitely will help even the odds in a 1-to-1 fight. For my opponent's army, he is running the Mighty Sartorial, which is actually an interesting pick, but kind of makes sense against the Tomb Kings, because Tomb Kings can, of course, bring a good amount of shooting, and some very potent shooting at that. And Sartorial is incredibly resistant. He does have, I do believe, a 70%, or actually 60% missile damage resist. He also does cause Fear and Terror, which is completely irrelevant, but he does have Metal Shifting, which provides a boost. He does have Searing Doom for bombardments, Glittering Road for armor buff, Final Transmutation to do damage, and then Transmutation of Lead, which is a great AoE debuff. And of course he does have Standardized. He's just a very solid lord, very similar, I would say, to Arkan in just his combat capabilities and what he can bring to the table. For his front line, my opponent has brought a whole bunch of Chaos Marauders, who are of course dirt cheap and not very good, but they going toe-to-toe against skeletons, they will of course crush skeletons with relative ease. You can see I'm trying to pull out my Tomb Guard with Halberds, get him out on the flanks, and again I'm screening my Ushapti. In the meantime, you can see my Ushapti are going to engage on the Forsaken. My opponent does have 2 units of Forsaken who are potentially incredibly potent against the Tomb Kings, because Tomb King infantry is very squishy, has very low armor, generally somewhat poor melee defense, and these guys can tear through them very quickly. Plus, with their high armor, they'll actually be able to tank through fairly effectively. That said, against that Grape Shot and from the Ushapti Great Bows, they are not having a good time at all, and they're getting shredded. Though unfortunately, you can see some of the Ushapti are wasting shots on kind of a tailing unit. My opponent also does have 4 units of Chaos Warriors with great weapons, who will be able to kind of mince their way through the vast majority of my troops. So I'm actually not sure how well they would do against Tomb Guard due to their relatively low melee attack. In the back, my opponent does have some Chaos Warriors with halberds, who once again don't have the best of melee defense. Definitely one of these guys' big niches is the fact that they have great armor, but that is fairly irrelevant against a Tomb Guard with halberds. So I'm not entirely sure who would win in a 1-to-1, and both units are also of the same cost. So it actually is possible that Tomb Guard with halberds would be able to come out on top against Chaos Warriors with halberds. Over here, the Battle of the Titans with the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth taking on the Necrosphinx and starting to slug it out here while coming under some nasty fire from the Ushabti with great bows. Over here you can see some of the Chaos Marauders are being hit by the Spearmen, and I'm now going to be kind of trying to bog down my opponent's troops with the help of the Tomb Guard with halberds. Over here the Tomb Guard with halberds being bombarded a little bit by, of course, Sarthorael dropping a Searing Doom. But in the front line, things are definitely going well. These Chaos Warriors with halberds got hit by a Fate of Buna, and although Sarthorael does manage to just push through the front, I will be able to kind of intercept him and cause some damage to him with some of my other troops. Over here, the Forsaken are going to be able to get into the cookie jar, get on top of the Ushabti with great bows, but Ushabti do have decent armor, and they themselves hit pretty hard, so they should be able to go toe-to-toe with Forsaken fairly efficiently. Over here, Sarthorael doing good, but he is being interdicted by good old Arkan the Black, who is actually laying the smackdown on the Everwatcher, who does not have the best of armor. So he's actually getting torn down pretty effectively and simply not having the best of times. Over here you can see the Necrosphinx, despite the Libra Mortis and despite being healed, I do believe, is still definitely struggling against the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, especially once it's getting all this support from units such as the Chaos Halberds. However, my opponent's Chaos Warriors are being hit by a Fate of Buna, which is melting them down very, very quickly. In the meantime, the Necrosphinx is forced to pull back to deal with these Forsaken, while the Halberds are stalling and buying me some time. Over here, Forsaken are going to sneak past my front line, where on the flank the Tomb Guard is tying down Chaos Warriors halberds, actually doing pretty well and trading efficiently, and they're going to sneak past and get into my back line, and you can see the Skeleton Warriors are at this point absolutely buckling. That said, the Tomb Guard is still holding strong, refusing to go down without a fight, and stalling my opponent's troops with grim determination. On the flank, Spirit Leech on Sarthorael is slowly but surely melting him down, and in the center of the fray here, you can see the Necrosphinx just trying to keep clear of the Chaos Warriors halberds, and leaving the Ushabti to kind of suffer and die against them. That said, once the Necrosphinx gets in, it is capable of doing some good damage to the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. You can see over here on the flank, the Chosen of the Gods starting to engage on some of the squishy troops who are surrounding these large targets. Over here, with Sarthorael being tied down by Arkan, who is doing some immense work against him, I'm going to be able to get my Ushabti Great Bows into position and start firing away at the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, who simply does not have the tankiness to survive. A summoned unit of Ushabti is going to become a very useful boon here, at just buying me time in dealing with these Chaos Warriors. And of course, you can see another 44% damage mitigation is going down as Sarthorael is being zoned away by good old Arkan, who's just been doing some immense work this game. Chosen of the Gods still firing away these squishy units, and you can see things are kind of going into my favor, in spite of the fact that my Skeleton Warriors are falling apart. The Tomb Guard with halberds is just refusing to go down, refusing to be beaten, and sliding out with the Chaos Warriors like absolute champs. Over here, the Necrotect helping stall, buy some time. And as are the Ushabti with great bows, who of course, while not being ideal against infantry, are a passable melee combatant. Over here, the Chosen of the Gods have been kind of poking away at enemy troops like the Chaos Warriors with halberds, and the Shaggoth has been dragged into the muck by the Necrosphinx, with the support, of course, of the Ushabti. The Forsaken over here will be terror-routed with relative ease, and that is going to allow me to really start mopping up my opponent's troops. You can see over here the Tomb Guard is doing a very good job against the Chaos Warriors with halberds, definitely dragging into the muck. I think Tomb Guard are very, very cost-efficient in these sort of situations, and over here, the Ushabti are plowing into Forsaken and doing some great work. Ushabti should be very powerful against Forsaken, as their melee defense is terrible, and their armor is going to provide very little protection against their power. Over here, of course, the Necrosphinx doing some good work, just disrupting these Chaos Warriors, who have at this point stripped down most of these Ushabti, who are, you can see, disintegrating here, but they will simply not be able to push through the Chosen of the Gods, and Arkan has managed to assassinate Sarthorael, dragging him into the muck and giving me a Pyrrhic victory. So definitely, in this game, a good chunk of, I think, the win came down to the fact that my opponent got overcommitted Sarthorael. I definitely did not play the best. I allowed Sarthorael to run amok in the backline and didn't really shut him down. I should have had my Necrosphinx more nearby, or perhaps brought more anti-large, perhaps dropping one of the Ushabti in favor of that. So that was definitely a mistake on my part. That said, the Tomb Guard did an amazing job holding up the enemy infantry. They have very high melee defense that just proved to be an absolute game changer there. Having a 47 baseline melee defense means that units such as Chaos Warriors with halberds or Chaos Warriors with great weapons struggle to hit. They struggle to make meaningful contact, and it means they're really not able to melt down the Tomb Guard very efficiently. Ushabti with great bows, of course, did a pretty good job at just sniping down one of those units of Forsaken early on, though definitely I could have made better uses of them, and I most likely not bothered with 3 units worth of Ushabti great bows. Finally, the Necrosphinx did an amazing job shutting down the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, and then providing some terror debuffs. Also, Arkin, of course, with Fate of Buna was just immensely potent. He managed to strip away at some of the Chaos Warriors' halberds, some of the Chaos Warriors' great weapons, and cause them to rout, while also meleeing down Sir Royal. So definitely some great work there. For my opponent, definitely a very cool build, and definitely I don't think the worst of builds. Personally, I don't think Chaos Warriors' great weapons are a worthwhile investment against Tomb Kings. You're better off, in my opinion, bringing Chaos Warriors with halberds, maybe vanilla Chaos Warriors. The simple reality is, for Tomb King infantry, they don't have armor. 50 armor is not good by any standards. So you really don't need the great weapons to deal with infantry. And if you're worried about large with heavy armor, then I think you're better off bringing Chaos Warriors with halberds. So I definitely think it's a bit overkill to bring Chaos Warriors with great weapons. You can definitely easily get by with cheaper troops, with vanilla Chaos Warriors, or perhaps Chaos Warriors with halberds if you're really worried about large. I definitely think this is a little bit overkill. Otherwise, definitely a very cool build. Well played to my opponent. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. If you have any comments, criticism, any questions you'd like to ask, anything like that, be sure to post them down in the comment section below, and I will respond as soon as I can. As usual, guys, I do appreciate you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Over and out.